Hello and welcome to Crack Jade Glasses. This is kind of an impromptu thing I wasn't planning on doing, but I went down to my local grocery store to buy cigarettes and I saw this, newspaper machine thing with these things inside of it, signs of the times. Uh, and I'm gonna read out and just show you this article on how evil began. This is put out by Seventh Day Adventist Church, is what it says. I don't know anything about them, really. I know that they have like a prophet of some sort, but this is some interesting stuff here. How Evil Began by Mark Finley. Frank Peretti wrote a novel, This Present Darkness, that caused a sensation in Christian circles. Never heard of it. The plot revolved around various characters in a small town and the moral choices they had to make, but the real action took place in the supernatural realm. That actually sounds like an interesting book, as fiction, mind you. Where the forces of good and evil battled it out, Peretti did his best to imagine what a supernatural world would be like. I want to tell you I want to tell you about this angelic conflict that overshadows anything we human beings can imagine. This battle is supremely important because it's really a battle about who God is. And you and I are all involved whether we realize it or not. I don't care who God is. The book of Revelation tells us that a war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. He was not strong enough. They lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down. The ancient serpent, called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray, he was hurled to the earth and his angels with him. So the fall of Satan or whatever. A battle for the throne. Christ and Satan warring in heaven. What was Satan doing there? Seriously, if you need to put this in a thing for your believers, you are doing a terrible job of preaching. From the Bible, we can piece together a kind of prehistory of Satan. Ezekiel recorded what God said about the king of Tyre. Oh, that's like Tyr to me, like the god, Norse god. Tyr, had his mouth in front of her. But never mind here, off topic. But it becomes obvious as we read the prophecy here in chapter 28, God was also talking about someone who was much more than the king of Tyre. He was a symbol for an angel. Here's part of what Ezekiel wrote about. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Ellipses. You were the anointed cherub who covers. Ellipses. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created till iniquity found you. Ezekiel 28, verses 12 through 15, New King James Version of the Bible. In the Jewish temple, the covering cherubs or angels stood over at the mercy seat, which represented God's throne. So this angel had been given a special place near God's throne. But something happened to this wonderful angel. Iniquity was found in him. You got to wash off that iniquity really well. I mean, it's like oil on a penguin. You got to know what you're doing, man. If you ate it, I guess you just gotta wait, till it goes through. But just be careful, man. That iniquity, that'll get you every time. Ezekiel said that your heart became proud on account of your beauty. Verse 17. How did this angel cross a line from being a supremely good being to one who is filled with iniquity? I don't know. Maybe it's delicious. Maybe iniquity is delicious. I don't know. I don't judge. Like flan. In a prophecy similar to Ezekiel's, Isaiah wrote of a being named Lucifer fell from heaven. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven, I will raise my throne above the stairs of God. Semicolon and ellipses. Fancy. I will make myself like the Most High. I think Tommy Chong has that covered. Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 14. Lucifer developed an attitude. Being next to God's throne wasn't enough. He wanted a throne of his own. Above all the stars of God, he wanted to be as powerful as the Most High. I don't think Tommy Chong has much power. Maybe this is more about Snoop Dogg trying to take Tommy Chong's power away. I don't know. He wanted the authority of the Most High, and that's how this angel began his tragic fall. The Apostle John tells us that God is love. Oh, I love that phrase. 1 John 4:8. That's the foundation of his government. Love was all around Lucifer, but he turned away from it. And then he twisted his mind, began to picture God as the enemy. And he began to think he could do as good a job running the universe as God. Oh my God, somebody thinks they might have a better idea. Oh, wait. Even better. Try and imagine this disturbance this must have caused in heaven. This brilliant Lucifer. You're even calling him brilliant. Just saying. This cherub, so near the throne of God, starts questioning God. He wonders why God has all the glory. He wonders why every being was created to obey God. All very, very good questions. Maybe there's an alternative. Maybe there's a better way to run the universe. Probably. Evidently, Lucifer persuaded 1/3 of the angels to join him in his rebellion. Revelation 12:4. Okay. This is the part that I find interesting. So how should God respond? Should he destroy Lucifer and the other rebels before their evil has a chance to spread? Think about what that would have said to all the watching angels. It would have said that I'm not going to let evil destroy everything. That's what it would have said. It would have stopped all of this sin bullshit from happening. You motherfucker. I don't care what, your political problems are. I love this because then it brings God down to the idea that he's a LA councilman. Kill the opposition. Suppose that a Los Angeles councilman were to accuse the mayor of being arbitrary and dictatorial. Like dictator. He claims that the mayor doesn't really have the city's citizens' best interests in mind, but is using his office to further his own selfish agenda. If it's the mayor of LA, that's probably true. I don't know who it is right now, but I would assume. Politics is all fucked, so yeah. Should the mayor have a SWAT team from the police department eliminate the councilman, or should he order a National Guard units to surround this man's home and arrest him? What would clear the mayor's name? You see the point? No, I don't. I don't, because this isn't letting loose what you would consider sin into the world and why people go to a never-ending hell. Nobody is going to never-ending torture over what a fucking councilman and mayor are talking about. Unless they watch it on whatever, C-SPAN or something. That's a never-ending hell on its own. But it's not even in the same fucking sphere of influence, sphere of reality there. Fucking assholes. God's reputation and credibility were at stake when Satan made his challenge. Yeah, he could have rose to that challenge and fucking, ended it all. And eradicating the opposition wouldn't have answered the challenge. Yes, it would have. It would have said, I'm stronger, I'm better than you, and you can fuck off. Instead, God chose a wiser course. He chose to allow sin to exist for a while. For a while. It's not like, it's something fucking theists talk about constantly or something that means I'm going to, burn for all eternity. It allows him to exist for a while when it is fully demonstrated that the rebellion against God brings Lucifer, Satan, lost his battle in heaven, but he gained a foothold on earth by tempting Adam and Eve to follow him. No, he said, hey, this is an apple he doesn't want. Do you want it? Doesn't want you to have that. I mean, that's so in effect, God told Satan, okay, set up your alternative system. Let the whole universe see what happens in a world cut off from love. No! He didn't let him do that. I mean, otherwise he would have had the equal power and equal ideas, and he just would have given him like an alternate universe for him to start on his own and see what happens. Not forcing him into a weakened state and having him have to gain help from mortals. That makes no sense. It has nothing to do with that. Sin alienates us from God and from other people. No, you alienate me from God and other people. You, whatever this writer is, and his people, I'm alienated from them. The seeds of the war were planted in the hearts of the parents of the human race. When they sinned, the reason there's abuse in the home, the reason there's so much animosity in the world is that sin has infected the human heart. Okay, you just said that it was an alternate system, not an infection. I'm just letting you know that's two different things. Okay? However, back when Lucifer first rebelled against God, no one other than God himself knew how much misery Satan's alternative could create. We, me, and the whole universe had to discover for ourselves through seeing evil in action. What the... Okay, so no one other than God knew how much misery he would see, but we had to see it for ourselves. Or, you could have told us or shown us, or, not damned people to an eternal hellfire. Makes sense. Dear God, you don't make sense if this is actually what you did, and I know you don't exist, but, writing letters to nobody, it's a better practice than prayer. We had to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that God's way is best. That doesn't teach us that. That just teaches us to take the antibiotic that is God so the infection will go away. That's not. Because that's the only way God could solve the problem of evil once and for all. Instead of snapping his fingers, Lucifer's dead, nobody raises another question. And none of the angels are going to fuck with that. He wants every question that Satan has ever raised to be answered. He wants every doubt that Satan has ever cast to be resolved. Then resolve them and show it. Fucking asshole. Love doesn't coerce, it lets people see for themselves. They can decide for themselves. God wants us to love him for who he is. But he doesn't love you for who he is if you're a homosexual, or a Jew, or Islamic, or an atheist. He doesn't love you for who you are at all. And that can happen only if we really do have free choice. No, he can just make us. If he's all powerful, it wouldn't matter. Fortunately, We have, we can be sure that Satan's long warrior against God will fail, and that it will have a permanent end. And Revelation reveals that the end will be the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur. Well, he's kind of been living in a lake of burning sulfur. I don't see how that would kill him, but Revelation 2010. I don't know, 2010, yeah. An earlier prophecy of fucking motorcycles outside my window. An earlier prophecy pictures God saying of Satan, I made a fire come out from you, and it consumed you, and I reduced your ashes to the ground. You've come to a horrible end, and will be no more. Ezekiel 28, verses 18 and 19. Okay, so God is saying he did this to him on purpose. How is that a positive of any kind? And that's the fate that awaits the villain of the book of Revelation. I think the whole everything in the book of Revelation is fucking psychotic anyway. He will be totally destroyed. Yeah. God has a plan. Sorry, trying to get that. God gives us great assurance about how things will turn out. God gives us great assurance how we can live successfully, even in a world that Satan has scarred. Right after Adam and Eve sinned, God told the tempter, I'll put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers, even though they would be the same offspring. So, like, is he talking? Yeah, that's always been one of those. I don't know. Do they have different offspring? He, Christ, will crush your head, and you, Satan, will strike steel. Christ wasn't mentioned in that, so that you're just adding that in. Genesis 3:15. God's promise is that we won't have to continue to be victimized by Satan, but we can still be victimized by God for letting it happen. We can get out from under his control. How? Through the offspring of a woman, the promised one. Okay, Revelation 12, the chapter that pictures a great war in heaven, echoes that assurance. They overcame him, Satan, by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony. Revelation 12:11, the blood of the Lamb overcomes Satan every time and can help us live triumphantly even in a world assaulted by sin. So is the blood of the Lamb like the antibiotic to the infection thing? Is that the idea here? Even though you said it was an alternate system that you were letting him set up. I mean, unless you consider like an infection a system, which it's not. You can infect a system, but it doesn't make it a system in itself. Let me give you one wonderful example of how that happens. Oh boy, this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this one. In 1971, John McCain was a prisoner of war in North Vietnam on Christmas Eve. The POWs held a worship service that began with the Lord's Prayer and then sang Christmas carols. McCain read a portion of the Christmas story from the Gospel of Luke between each hymn. The men were nervous at first. A year earlier, the guards had burst in on their secret worship service. They dragged 3 men who were leading it to solitary confinement, entombed with the rest of the 3 in 5-foot cells for 11 months. Is that like 3 by 5? Sorry, that is good space. Still, the prisoners wanted to sing this night, so they began, "O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant, ellipses and quotation mark." They sang barely above a whisper, their eyes glancing at the barred windows, huddled below a naked light bulb. They appeared to be a rather sorry congregation. Several shook from fever. They were permanently stooped as a result of torture. Others leaned on makeshift crutches, but they kept singing, O ye come to Bethlehem, come and behold him, born the King of Angels." The prisoners grew bolder, their voices lifted. higher until they filled the cell with hark. Hear the angels sing. It came upon midnight clear. When they started Silent Night, tears rolled down their unshaven faces as they sang with feeling of the final refrain, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. They realized that transformation had taken place, and McCain said, we had forgotten our wounds, our hunger, our pain. We raised our prayers. Thanks for the Christ child. Our families, our homes. There's absolutely exquisite feeling of our burdens being lifted. Okay, so while this is a nice story and yeah, I mean, you're a fucking POW of whatever lifts your spirits, man. But because of the alternate world / infection that God let happen, this happened to you. You're praising the one who let it happen. That makes no sense. The war that began in heaven still goes on. It is a conflict that reaches into our hearts. The battle lines don't always stand out clear, but there they are. Two forces clashing that representing opposing values. I don't know, you didn't really talk about what Satan's values were. At some point, all of us have to make an all-important choice about whom we give our allegiance to. We have to choose between pride and love. I'm not prideful. I pretty much hate myself. And love is an illusion. So, between self-centeredness and serving God. Okay, I'm a bit self-centered, but that's more to keep myself from falling apart. So, that's more of a mental thing. Yeah. All of us can lift up a song of triumph, a song of defiance against the enemy of the human race. We can be joyful and triumphant, even in the midst of sorrows and cares. Such a lifetime privilege as we place our faith in the one who was born King of Kings in that silent little town in the little town of Bethlehem. Okay, how many movies have that thing where people start singing and it like everybody gets pumped up and they feel better and then they win? I mean, like Hardball. I don't know why I'm using that one with Keanu Reeves and fucking Biggie Smalls. You know, I love it when you call me Big Papa. I mean, it's like, are you suggesting that reaches God and that's the same type of deal, or is that, you know, opposing value and they're using in Biggie Smalls is invoking Satan? I don't know what you mean here. All humanity, look, I'm just going to read the great controversy. All humanity is now involved in a great conflict between Christ and Satan over the character of God, his law, and his sovereignty over the universe. This conflict originated in heaven when a created being endowed with freedom of choice, in exalting himself, became Satan and led a large number of his fellow angels rebel against God. When he introduced the spirit of rebellion into this world, where he led Adam and Eve into sin, our human sin has resulted in the distortion of the image of God and humanity and the disordering of the created world. Our world became the arena of this universal conflict, which to us that's out of which the God of love will ultimately be vindicated to assist us. He sends Christ sends the Holy Spirit, his loyal angels, to guide, protect, and sustain us in the way of salvation. Even though he pretty much said, no, I'm going to let it be to prove I'm the bigger man and I'm right. Because my ego couldn't take it if I actually let Satan, have a fair fight. So this is just amazing bullshit that I am so glad that I picked up from. This is the website version, obviously, but I found and this is an old issue, but it was in the front of my local grocery store, and it said How Evil Began, and I had to read it and share.